What's up you guys, my name is Steph and I want to welcome you to my channel. Before we get into today's video, I do want to let you guys know that I have opened up an email. It is iamjustspooked@gmail.com. You guys are more than welcome to submit all your scary encounters if you would like to be featured in any upcoming videos. So today's video is going to be about the infamous Hat Man. And you know, I feel like thousands and thousands and thousands of people have had an encounter with this man. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, there is a very good documentary on Amazon Prime. It is called The Hat Man. Very simple, very straight to the point. And it's definitely a very good documentary. Pretty much goes down the history of the Hat Man, or the many encounters that many people have had. I know that when I watched it, it freaked me out for the following reason. It freaked me out really bad because a lot of their experience really was a lot of what I experienced. And I am here to talk to you guys about my experience with the Hat Man. I did write a lot of it down on my iPad because this was so long ago. I don't really remember too much, or I don't want it to be like, I don't know, I don't want to miss any details, so I'll be looking in and out. Since it's my story, I'm more able to look at the camera and say the story, but I will be like going back and forth between my iPad to make sure that I'm not missing any details. Without further ado, let's just go ahead into the story. Back in 2011, I felt like I was a victim of the Hat Man and those encounters. But it all starts back to 2010. So in 2010, I started dating someone that it was like a really messy situation. It's kind of like a rebound, because when I met this person, a little bit before I met him, I had just come out of this, like, I was in love with someone and it didn't work out, and I was really sad. And then one night we had like a girls' night out, my friends and I, and that's where I met this person. I knew that when I met him, I did not like him as a boyfriend. I thought he was really cool. I thought he was really, like, I don't know, it was cool to hang with him. I liked him as a friend, but I knew right off the bat that I did not like him in that way. And one thing about me, now I'm going a little like off topic, but one thing about me is, like, when I meet you, I kind of know already if I'm gonna like you or not. Like, I could just sense if your vibe and mine go together. So I knew that our vibe was kind of like there as friends, but not like romantically. But stupidly enough, he did end up telling me that he liked me, and I felt bad rejecting him, and so I got with him. I was with him for I want to say like 3 years. I'm not really sure. Almost 3, I don't know. That relationship was so toxic. It was god awful, and it had put me in this, I was the most negative I had ever been in my life. It really had taken a toll on me. I was so irritable. Like, anyone that would talk to me would just kind of pop off for no reason. I was miserable in this relationship. I really feel that I should have listened to my gut when I first met him and knew that I didn't like him like that. But because I was so scared to say no and reject him, I went with it, and I experienced some of the worst times of my life. The reason why I told you about this relationship is that during this time is when the Hat Man kind of comes into the story. When I was in this relationship, I found that I was mentally checked out 24/7. I was so drained. I would hardly sleep. It was awful. It was awful. It was like this deep depression that I was in. And this is when I started developing like insomnia. I would never sleep, and if I ever did, it would be for 2 hours, and then I'd be up all night. Or sometimes I would just go to sleep at 6 in the morning and then wake up at 8 in the morning, and I was good. One of these nights, I had woke up and I look at the end of my bed, and there he is. And there he is, this tall black shadow. You could not see through it. You can see him in the dark. Really tall figure. It's really dark. Has a top hat. It was genuinely the scariest thing. They're all the scariest thing, but it really was such a freaking creepy ass experience. But in that time, I was in such a bad place mentally. I didn't know what to make of it, but I was so worried about other things that I was like, whatever, like it's just my mind. Then pretty soon I started noticing that he would be everywhere with me. He would show up to school, he would go to my jobs, like anywhere I was hanging out with my friends, he would always be in a corner watching me. It was so unsettling because I didn't know how to tell anyone about this without sounding crazy. I already sounded crazy because I was not in a good place. You know, I was always on edge and this relationship was bringing me down. And so I felt like if I ever spoke to any of my friends about the Hat Man, they really were just gonna be like, are you insane? Right? I didn't know that people were seeing this thing. I didn't know how common this thing was. I remember that even one time, I had already stopped seeing this person. I was now seeing someone new, which would now be my husband. There was this one night that I snuck him in and we were sleeping together, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, there he is. And he's like, what? And I was knocked out. Like I could only fall asleep if he was there because I felt like I was safe. I remember just waking up and being like, there he is. You don't see him? You don't see him? He was like, I don't see anything. And the next day, I didn't want to bring it up because obviously I felt that was so out of line of me. I didn't ever want to tell anyone about this thing. So the fact that I had let my guard down to even be like, oh my god, there he is in the corner, had me a little embarrassed. So he writes to me the next day and is like, what the hell was that about? And we're like, do you see the Hat Man? He's there. This is my bed. I was laying on this side and he was on the corner, like right there over my head. Once that happened with my husband, back when we were seeing each other, that's when I started being a little more open about how I was kind of being haunted by this thing that I had been seeing for ever. So during that relationship that I was in and even after, the most startling encounter that I would have with this thing would be the very last time I ever saw it. It really scared me and I'm so thankful. I mean, he left with a bang. He went out with a bang and I'm just thankful that I have not seen him again, and I hope that it stays that way. But when I watched this documentary, just hearing all their encounters fucking flipped me out because I just didn't realize how common it was and how a lot of the encounters are the same. And at the time when all this was happening to me, I didn't know that. I didn't know about the Hat Man. I just thought it was like some weird entity or energy that had found me and was just sticking by me. There was a point where I started seeing less and less of him, and so I was starting to feel a little better because I was starting to sleep and I was like, okay, life is like turning back to normal. I literally wrote that, but I knew he would not leave me alone without making a grand exit, and bro, he did. He really did. My last encounter, I am gonna go ahead and read it off my notes because this really was like on a day. I wrote this on a day where I was reliving the encounter like vividly, and I remembered so many details. Right now where I'm at today, I don't remember it that well. Like if I tell you, I could tell you like 2-3 good things about that day specifically. I wouldn't really remember it because I guess trauma just deleted it for me, thank god. I'm gonna go ahead and read off my iPad, but do know that this is genuinely my story. This was my last encounter with him. Never saw him again. I hope I don't see him again. Like I said, as time went on, I started seeing less and less of him, but I knew he would not leave me alone without making a grand exit. I could just feel it. I felt like my life was going back to normal, but there was some, I was like, he's not done with me. I just know he's not done with me. He will come back when I least expect it. I go to bed one night. It is now morning time. So this happened to me at 7 in the morning. Why I remember this? Because I had to get up and get ready for college. I had a class like at 8:15. So in all this does happen to me after I experienced El Duende. So it is key for you to know that I was still sleeping with my TV on most nights. I wake up that day and I remember that I looked at my TV and it was already off. And I found that weird because I was like, there's no way. I had not woken up. I wouldn't, even if I was groggy AF. Even till this day, I do not wake up at any moment and think, oh, let me just turn off the TV. It's a good idea. No, I need to hear sound. So I knew right off the bat when I woke up that day, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Red alarm, like all these bells were going off. I was trying to sit up to see like, what the F, is my TV really off? And at that moment, my body is pinned down to my bed. I'm trying my best to get up. I'm wanting to scream. I cannot move anything but my eyeballs. That is the only thing I can move. I look in the corner of my room and there he is, standing, watching me being pinned down to the bed. It was the most awful, insane, scariest feeling. Out of all my experiences with him, he really would just stay in place. Like this man would be either at the end of my bed, he wouldn't move. In the corner, he wouldn't move. Like there would be no movement. But this day in particular, he moved, and it was the first and only time I'd ever seen this man move while I was watching him. I do remember that the one thing I did notice is he was angry. He was super, super upset. And in my room, there was this iron table. It was so heavy to move. Like literally when I would rearrange my room, it used to take like 3 of us to move that table, 3 of my friends, or sometimes me and my dad. But it would take a lot of people. That's how heavy this table was. It was little, but it was made out of iron, and it was so heavy. He is literally dragging this table like he is angry, okay? Here I am in this moment watching this figure pull this table that is super heavy. I'm just watching it all happen. I'm watching him be angry. I'm like, what's gonna happen next to me? I can't even move. I'm in this weird state. What the hell? You know, I was freaking out, and I'm trying to open my mouth and scream. Nothing is coming out. You know how sleep paralysis is. It's really, really scary. Externally, I'm not moving, but internally, I'm yelling my brains out. I am like going insane. And then he started getting things around my room and throwing them, and I was like, what is wrong? Like, why is he mad? I could just tell. Mind you, I cannot see a face on him, but it was just, there was something about the way he was moving around my room and pulling the table. Like, he was pissed. At one moment, I was released. Like, I just felt whatever was pinning me down, get off of me. It was literally holding me from here. Get off of me. And I remember that I got up, and my instinct just told me to run to a beanbag and sit down. And the only way I would prove to myself that this really did happen was if I would wake up and I was sitting down, right? Like, if I would wake up and I was in my bed, then obviously this was just a really bad dream. So I get up, I sit on the beanbag, and I'm just like praying at this point. One thing to notice is obviously I love to pray when I'm in the middle of being scared. So I started praying and praying and praying. Praying that this is just a bad dream, that I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna be in my bed. Well, I opened my eyes, and now I'm like really, really awake, and I'm sitting on the beanbag, and the iron table is moved, and everything that he threw around my room really was just scattered all over my room. Shoes, papers, books, scattered all over my room. The one time, like, I just wanted this to be fake. I wanted it to be a really bad dream. And here I am sitting, and the mess that he made is still here. And I just had no explanation for that. I mean, unless I was sleepwalking, right? But I couldn't move that table. Like, honestly, it would take 3 of my friends to move it. Or if it was my dad, then it would be easier because it would be me and my dad. But he still needed me to pull that thing around. I can tell you this much. I've never seen him after that. I'll never know why this man was angry, why he was doing all these things. Don't care to know. But he exited my room. I saw him exit. I opened my eyes. The mess was there. And I've never seen him again. And I remember I called my dad, and he saw the mess in my room. He's like, what the hell happened to you? Like, why were you upset? I didn't know how to explain it. So I was like, you know, break up stuff. And he helped me put everything back. Helped me put this table back, and I cleaned up the mess. I don't know if a lot of it had to do with the state of mind that I was in, but I do know that I did see him and that I was a victim of the Hat Man. That was my experience with him, like my final experience with him. Have you guys ever experienced the Hat Man? If you have, please comment down below and let me know your experiences. I'm so eager to hear about it because I do know this is something super common for a lot of people. As I mentioned before, I do have an email. iamjustspooked@gmail.com, where you can submit your stories if you would like to be featured in an upcoming video. I will make sure to leave it in the description box below. And yeah, until next time, bye.